Hello everyone, and welcome to Joe and Zach Survival. I'm up here doing chores at the tent here because wintertime's coming. We really haven't had to use the wood stove at all the whole summer. And I haven't been up here this much this summer. It's been just a really busy year, lots of stuff going on, so this was kind of a summer where I couldn't get up here that much. But now winter's coming, deer hunting's around the corner, hunting season starts, small game starts next weekend, duck hunting starts the 22nd. I mean, things are going to start moving. I'm going to be up here a lot more. And one job that I cannot stand to do is clean out the wood stove. It's got to be done a couple times a year. Better to do it right now when you don't need to have a fire going and stuff like that. And the reason it sucks so bad is you got to reach in there and dig. You get a little bit of water that comes down the pipe because I don't have a cap on there. And if I do put a cap, I don't get a good draw. So I never put a cap on there. So you're going to have to reach in and dig and really pull all this stuff forward and get this all cleaned out. But the nice thing is, when it does get really cold out, instead of being able to put 2 logs or 3 logs in there, you can really load it up and get heat for a long time. Now, a couple things to keep in mind if you're going to clean out your wood stove. Like, this is just a metal stove. Some of the fireplaces or the more expensive stoves, like that all-nighter that I have at home, are brick lined, and this wouldn't matter with a brick lined one. But you always want to leave a little bit of ashes in there because it's just good so that fire isn't right against the metal. It just helps to save the metal and stuff like that. You should do that with your barbecues too, if you're running charcoal barbecue. And of course, if you're going to do this, make sure that you haven't run the stove in a long time, because you'd really be surprised at how long coals can stay hot when they're covered up with ashes. So, I mean, this hasn't been running 2 months or more than that. So, I'm not worried about it, but if you're going to clean out your stove, be careful and try to leave a little bit of ashes in there to protect the metal. Alright, well, I got the wood stove all cleaned out in there, left a little bit of ashes like I said. It's a real smart thing to do because since you're back there with your hands and you're scraping all that crap out of there, make sure that you push around on the bottom and the sides and the back of the stove because you never see it back there. Make sure it's not burning out because eventually these things will rust out or burn out. This one's doing great. This has been a great stove and I've had it for over 5 years. So, but there's nothing worse, I mean, think of it. If it burns out on the bottom and you have a fire going and all of a sudden you're sleeping and the coals start to fall out a little bit onto the floor, the next thing you know, you have a fire. So you want to be really careful. I mean, I have fireproof plywood underneath this stove, but fire resistant, we should say, and that doesn't mean it's fireproof. So, a couple more things to do here and we'll be done. Okay, with my stove now, I burn a lot of pine in here. Like I said, I do pretty much half pine and half hardwood. I do the hardwood when it gets really cold out because you get a longer burn, a hotter burn, and then when we're getting up to that season, I'll be using pine because there's tons of pine trees that fall down around here. And instead of just using them for a campfire, I use them in the stove. And then after the cold season is over, we get into March, sometimes the end of February, and on. Then you can go back to using the pine again, so you're not burning up your whole supply of the hardwood. But with the pine, you get a lot more creosote. So when you're cleaning out your stove, now would be a great time to get up there and look down and clean it out or whatever. For me, it's pretty easy. All I do is just bang on it. You can just hear it fall out of there. And I'll bang on it a few times. And there was only one time up here that I had that thing get creosoted up pretty small because I didn't do that. And I actually had to climb up there. It wouldn't draw right or anything. And it was, I mean, there was like maybe a 2.5 inch out of a 6-inch hole. That was all that was open. But now I beat on it when I clean this out. And even if I'm up here for a long extended period of time burning this in the winter, in the morning when it's cool before I pop a lot of wood in there, I'll beat on it and you'll hear that fall down. So anyway, now is the time to get this all cleaned out and ready. Alright, so this is my inside wood box, and when it's winter time and it's real cold out, if I fill this wood box all the way up, I mean I overheat it, that'll burn for about 24 hours. So, unless you stay in, if we're deer hunting or something, whatever, we get to bed at a decent hour. If you're going to stay up super late, drinking beers and stuff, you're going to have to put more wood in it. But this time of year now, when it's empty, I've only got 1 log left, I like to go in there when I'm cleaning out the stove and clean up all the debris and crap that's in the bottom of it. So a person really doesn't think about this. You get this junk in there, but it really adds up. And if I get this all cleaned out, there's about the amount of 2 logs worth of junk in here. So the reason why I do it right now is there's absolutely no way you can clean out your wood stove without making everything a mess on the floor, everything. I'm going to have to sweep it anyway. Might as well get this up, get it in the garbage can, get it all out at one time, then I just have to clean here one time and it's done. Okay, everyone, well, the stove's all cleaned out now. The wood box is filled back up. It's low 50s right now, so I needed to get a fire going anyway, so this is nice. But at least now I know, even though I have to clean this stove out more than one time during the year, at least I know I went through and I did a really good job this time. I hit on the stove, so I know if anything's rusted or anything, so that this winter I can safely know that when I put wood in there, I'm not going to have any trouble. Thanks a lot for watching the Joe and Zach Survival Channel.